Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of August 2024. I hope you are well. I'm using, rather oddly, the Crow Tarot for you today. I say that because it hasn't come out for a while. And immediately the feeling that I have is that you need to be more grounded, Pisces, and we'll get into that when I've actually pulled some cards. Before we begin, if the reading resonates with you and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. That will be the first link in the description box. Second link in the description box is to my private community, which is the Order of the Phoenix over on the Circle platform. You know the score with that. I don't need to go over it again and again and again. And I'm quite keen to get into this reading for you. So let's just flip the camera there a second. Let's put these clarifying cards here and see what we've got going on for you. So can I have 3 cards for Pisces? There's the first one, 9 of Wands. What about current energy for Pisces, please? We have the Hanged Man, there you are, and the 8 of Wands. They did come out sideways, and so I'm going to respect that, and I'm going to stay there. What's coming towards Pisces for August, please? Page of Cups. A card that I actually associate quite deeply with you, Pisces. Although there isn't a strict astrological correspondence to it, I don't know, it just seems to fit with the archetype of Pisces much more than any of the other water signs. At the bottom of the deck we have the Fool, which is the card of Aries in the major arcana, obviously, and speaks of, amongst other things, new starts. It does talk also about faith and trust, and you know, shuffling the cards here, and the Pisces energy is all over everything at the moment. What did you hi Pisces, good to see you. Holy shit. Just, you are very here. So maybe the issue is not that you need to be more grounded, it is that you are more grounded than you have been in a very long time. You are perhaps more present in a material sense than you have been for a while. Let's get some clarifiers out on the table and see what this is about. Tell me about the 9 of Wands here, please. Why is the 9 of Wands here for Pisces? There we go. We've got the Queen of Swords. We've got the Knight of Pentacles with the 2 of Swords. Tell me about the Hanged Man and the 8 of Wands. Page of Pentacles in reverse. 3 of Wands. Okay. And the 7 of Cups. Tell me about the Page of Cups, please. Whoa. Okay. There it is. There's the Fool again. I've got goosebumps all over my legs right now. And we also have the Moon and we have the High Priestess. This is really interesting because I feel like there's a fusing of something going on here. We've got the 8 of Swords at the bottom of the deck, and I can see that playing out over the course of the cards anyway, where we have a situation emerging, or one probably that you've been in for a while, where you're not quite sure of the next move forward. So you're not quite sure where things are going. But you seem very, very here, spiritually, emotionally, and materially, physically, you know, on this plane, however you would like to put it. And I moved my glass of water out of the way, and that deck of cards, because that's just all a bit distracting, isn't it? There's movement here, but I feel like the kind of movement that there is lateral movement. Now that's something that I don't think bothers Pisces in the same way that it bothers other signs. Possibly it might be something that of a more mutable signature. It's not movement forwards, but it's definitely movement sideways, and in that is the release, I do think. We've got the Devil underneath there, and then the Page of Wands. Now, I'm not too concerned about that Devil being underneath the 8 of Swords, because the Devil and the High Priestess, when they appear in a reading together, quite often are talking about how it is that we bring our dreams into reality, right? Saturn in Pisces. And that is exactly where Saturn is at the moment. It's in the sign of Pisces in retrograde. And although there's an elegant dance happening here, Pisces, I can see it happening. And although the way may not be clear, and I would say that was almost certainly the case, there's something of a vision that you seem to be staying strong to. And also an incredible expression of faith and trust that everything is going to work out the way that you want to. But to look in from the outside, it looks like a clusterfuck. This is the thing, right? You're looking in it and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? It's starting, it's stopping, it's this way, it's that way, it's the other. And if you were trying to look at your life, your plans, the way things are happening from a linear perspective, it does look like a clusterfuck. But because the movement is lateral for you this month, it's all about lateral movement this month. It puts me in mind of that quote from Nietzsche. Which I can't remember. And those that could not hear the music what is it? I might have to Google it. There's something about those who could not hear the music and thought that those who were dancing to it were mad. It was something along those lines. That's exactly what's happening here for you. And I wonder if it's even that you can hear the music, Pisces, or that it's simply flowing through you right now. Oh, fuck me. This is going to be one of those readings, Pisces, where I am struggling, like really scouring my fucking data banks, trying to come up with a way of expressing the inexpressible to a sign that is absolutely the epitome of embodying that energy right now. So apologies, in my big numb Leo way, I'm going to do my best. Let's start over here, because if I don't start over here, I am going to keep dancing around everything that I see happening here and marvelling at how elegantly you're doing this, and we probably won't get anywhere with anything. So let's start over here. I'm going to slap some Saturn onto this feeling and try and interpret it as best as I can. We have the Nine of Wands. Now this Nine of Wands, ordinarily I would talk about this in terms of boundaries. I would talk about it in terms of how we manage our behaviours, right? Anything that is numbered 9 for me is about how we manage that thing. So the Nine of Swords, about how we manage our mind. The Nine of Pentacles, how we manage our money and our resources and whatnot. Nine of Wands is like how much we are in charge of our behaviours at any given point, right? Are we responding to something that is being subconsciously triggered, or are we actually taking action, right? It's the action versus reaction sort of situation. For you here, bearing in mind everything that I'm kind of feeling and it's flowing through this reading, and it's not flowing in a linear way. It's not going from A to B. It feels like whitewater rapids. You know, you got all the water, it's more or less moving in the same direction. But if you look at it, you can see where it's swirling around in eddies before it goes that way and then this way and that and the other. And, you know, you're trying to raft over the top of it. It's probably a nightmare, I would imagine. But there's something quite diligent and focused about the way that you have been engaging with something of late. What's interesting to me is that the Queen of Swords here is on her side. Now, if it were just about any other sign, I would say it's okay, we're not needing to think about this, we're just allowing the energy to flow. And there's sort of something about that here. But at the same time, like, you don't seem quite to be able to make sense of what you think and why you are doing the things that you are doing right now. I wouldn't go as far as to say that you're moving purely on instinct, but at the same time, that it's this sense of something working through you, or having been working through you, and no idea at all where it is leading. Almost as if the Queen of Swords has had to take a step back, because she's looking at this and she's like, I can't make head or tail of this. Like, what am I supposed to do about it? She's not refusing to consider all options, or, you know, anything that's coming up. She's not being unfair. She's not being unkind. She's not being any of these things. She's just being maybe slightly overwhelmed by the frenetic energy that seems to be wanting to be expressed in a particular way. And it's almost like you don't have much say in how it's expressing itself. We've got the Two of Swords here, and then we've got the Knight of Pentacles. And this Two of Swords generally is speaking about the things that we do not know that we do not know. It's that void that actually generally is a bit of a brick wall, where we perceive nothing, but we have no idea that there's supposed to be something there. Well, it just simply doesn't come up on the radar, right? Does a fish know that it swims in water? No, just does the thing. I mean, are we acutely aware of the fact that we're breathing in air all the time? No, we just do it. We notice it when it's not there. We don't notice it when it is there. This Two of Swords and this High Priestess are connected. I don't know if they're connected usually, but they're connected in this reading. And we're very much pulled to the High Priestess here. Because they look like they're the same woman. And the High Priestess looks like a point that has been achieved. Right? So this could be like the training that led to this, and here she gets to wear robes and she's got a special hat and whatnot. But over here she's just in her white dress, not knowing what to think about what is going on. I mean, ultimately I feel like everything that this is here is training to lead to this. Right? This is your card, you are the High Priestess, but there's a stepping up. And this is what I mean. The movement is not linear. There's not an ascension of sorts that we would recognise. We say, you know, this experience, then this experience, these thoughts, these emotions that go on with it, and suddenly I arrive out the other side, a more complete person, a more integrated person, someone who is much more spiritually in tune than I was before. No, we've got this focused energy that is moving backwards and forwards over certain things, almost aware that there's some training for a levelling up that is happening here, and committing to it no matter how batshit it seems to you or to anyone else. Because the thing is, I don't think it does feel like it's batshit to you. I think it feels like it's very proper. But you're long since past the point of trying to explain this to curious onlookers. It's like you've just got to keep head down and get on with whatever it is that this energy is trying to express through you at this point. Whether this is in terms of some sort of material expression, painting, drawing, writing, singing, dancing, you know, artistic things that are very much in the realm of Pisces. Whether it's some sort of more spiritual endeavour, where perhaps you are teaching, perhaps you are feeling the need to teach other people what it is that you know. Or whether it's just like one thing this day, one thing the other day, and you know that they're connected in some sort of way. It's an awareness that they're connected. But it's really difficult to kind of wed them together to work out what that is. Now, when we move into your current energy, we've got the Hanged Man on its side and we've got the Eight of Wands. That's quite interesting, because we do occasionally end up, it happens quite often actually, that I will end up in a reading where I've got the Hanged Man in reverse and I've got the Eight of Wands showing up. Because the Hanged Man is all about suspension. It's about standing still. It's about passivity, quite often. I mean, it's about other things besides, but when we've got the stasis that is represented by the Hanged Man, some kind of life experience that is characterized by stasis, when it is time to emerge from that cocoon, from that chrysalis, whatever it is, we'll see the Hanged Man show up in the reverse here. Right? It's time to get yourself down off the tree. It's time to start practically applying everything that you have seen in this change of perspective that's been achieved by hanging yourself upside down. And then we have the Eight of Wands. It's like things will begin to accelerate from here. So where there has been a lack of movement, where there has been a stasis, now things will start to pick up. Things will start to increase in speed. But that's not what we're seeing here. What we're seeing is the Hanged Man turned like this. So he's not quite ready to get off the tree, but he's not quite at that point of inception where he simply has to submit to the process, right? We've got something somewhere in between. And this Eight of Wands, which promises of both messages and information delivered, right? But also that amplification, acceleration, all of these sorts of things here. Neither of them yet quite ready to express themselves in any kind of meaningful way. And maybe it's about understanding the point. You know, when we're doing something, when we're working very hard, if we know where we're aiming for, we can judge our progress. All right, so we can say, well, I've got, you know, I'm about 20% of the way through, so I've still got like 80% to do, for example, right? Or, you know, I've got so much, I don't know, 50 tests to mark if I'm a teacher, and I've done 35 of them. So I've broken the back of it. I've not got too much more to go. I'm nearly done. That's fine. You know, you can both quantify the amount of time that is likely left to take you to get to where you're going, but you can also recognize where it is that you're going. And I think that these two cards here are saying you have absolutely no idea where this leads, how long it's going to take, and dare I say it, what the point of it is. And yet you are still going with it. The Page of Pentacles is in reverse. We've got the Three of Wands and we've got the Seven of Cups. Like, if this doesn't denote confusion about the outcome, I don't know what does. But here's you doing it anyway. Three of Wands, it's active card. It's a low-level card of manifestation for me. Low level not because it's not potent. It's low level because it's very much within your wheelhouse of things to control. Whereas the major arcana are these bigger energies that happen at you, right? So here, we've got you actually doing something. We've got you in a process of manifestation, creating something, birthing something, bringing something through. But what the fuck is it? We don't know. How long is it going to take? We don't know. Page of Pentacles in reverse is interesting because usually that's a card of initiation. Right? It would make a lot of sense if it was this way around, right? We understand the value of something, we're initiating it, we're committing to it, we're doing that. But again, it's like you've got the commitment and the movement, slow as it may be at the moment. But the thing that really defines this card here for me, right, is it's the way that he's holding this pentacle. It is the reverence with which this pentacle is being held up in the air, like it's the first time he's ever seen it. And he's looking at it and he's saying, you're beautiful, you're magnificent, I want to make more of you. I want there to be more of you out in the world. I want to be able to plant you and make more. We don't have that. Because I'm not sure that you know what you're making. I'm not sure that you know what you're doing. You're committed to it for sure. But it's like you haven't been able to look at it in such a way as to be able to perceive not only it in its entirety, but the possibility of the magnification and the amplification and the end result that comes thereafter. Which is a very strange place to be, Pisces. And like I said, I'm not sure there are too many signs who would be able to take this in the way that you have. And express the amount of trust and faith in the universe that what you are doing actually is really very important. It's like you know it with every fibre of your being, and you trust the messages as they're coming in. You're trusting the feelings and the intuition as it's coming in. But this is not something that you could explain to somebody else. It wouldn't make any sense at all. So we come to August, the rest of August, and we have the Page of Cups. Like I said, a card that I associate with Pisces quite strongly anyway. We have the Fool, we have the Moon, and we have the High Priestess. And I feel like the message is simply this. I mean, I talk about this for quite a long time, but the message is this. It's like, don't expect to understand what it is that you're doing. Like that fog that you have been in terms of, like I said, direction, results, explaining it to other people. What is the point of this? What does this mean? Like, none of that is at this point going to be revealed to you. Because the emphasis is on the trust, it's on the faith, it's also on the being receptive, being conduit, like not interfering with whatever it is that is being processed through you at this time. Think about the High Priestess, like literally in terms of a conduit. We've got all of that stuff that's happening up there, and the High Priestess, she doesn't draw it down. Right? She's very, very passive. There's no activity there. She is simply allowing it to come through her. The Devil there is what gives it form. It's what allows other people to perceive what it is that you're doing. Now, the Eight of Swords for me doesn't feel like it's problematic for you, because rather than feeling stuck and trapped, it's speaking to that lack of a way of articulating it for the benefit of other people, for the consumption of other people. But what's entirely and abundantly clear to me is that there is no need for you to do that. There's no need actually in this instance for you to understand it, only to trust it and keep doing it. The moon will highlight certain things, it will illuminate certain things, but it certainly does not give you the same view that you get by daylight. Both the Moon and the High Priestess are most comfortable in the realm of the subconscious. They're in the realm of the dreamscape. And things have a non-tangible, rather ethereal, rather ephemeral feel to them when illuminated by the light of the moon. Like, there's a passage going on here. I would go as far as to say a rite of passage, Pisces. And I have absolutely no fucking idea what this means whatsoever. But I'm just the messenger, right? You seem to be going from here to here. Rather than the moon being something that sits at your back, right? Up there, completely outside of even the periphery of your vision. You're drawing it down to your feet. Or you're allowing it to come to rest at your feet. You seem to me to be drawing down the moon. Quite literally, that's what I'm going to call this. Drawing down the moon. And this is, like I said, it feels like it's a rite of passage. Which means that you, in some way or another, laterally speaking, are levelling up. And I don't think that, for most Pisces, things like your bills, your work, unless you work in a very creative industry or you do something spiritual, I don't think that really factors into your thinking at the moment. It seems to me like you're being swamped almost with spiritual information and spiritual nudges. Go to this place, do this thing, talk to this person, do this, do that, do the other. I mean, you might have suddenly found yourself being having really incredible dreams and feeling prompted to write them down. Do that, right? Make some sort of note of them so that you can remember and you can look for patterns. But some of you might be being pushed towards, spiritually pushed, towards different areas of interest that you've not come across before. But there's a kind of insistence about the nudging. It's not like, oh, hey, Pisces, you may be interested in the art of tarot. You should maybe, pick up a deck or find a book on it or something. It's like, no, you have to do this right now, and you have to get it out, and you have to do this particular kind of reading, or you have to go find out about Reiki, or you have to go find out about this. There is a lot of energy moving through you at the moment, which makes me feel like you are processing something on behalf of the collective right now. And in doing that, you are leveling up rapidly. But it looks very different to what you thought it would. This is really strange, Pisces. I fucking love it, but it's really weird. So I'm going to go and have a look at the extended, and I'm going to see if I can't Saturn some shit down here, right? Create a bit of structure and actually try and work out what is going on. But you will be different by the end of this month. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever, because it's not that the goalposts are moving. It's like literally the ground that you are stood on is shifting. And your willingness to go with it is what's taking you to the next step of something. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go. So you can join me on Vimeo, you can join me on Circle if you would like to. If not, no shade at all. If you're feeling a little bit boxed, Pisces, I'm not surprised. But I think that you're probably coping with this very, very well, if I'm honest. I think most other people would feel a little bit like they were going insane, but not you. And I feel like it's almost not as important for you to understand where you are going and why this is happening or anything. It's like you found a flow state. But rather than this being a flow state that lasts 3 hours and allows you to get something written or whatever, this is a flow state that seems to have been going on for weeks and will continue for at least a couple of weeks hereafter. And that's quite a surreal space to be in. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.